Well, our next presentation is by Mr. Antero Alku from Alku Tieto.
Okay, so good afternoon, everybody. I'm sorry to say you that I don't have such ideas as you have seen before me. I'm sorry to bring your feet back to ground. This is quite much because of my background. My latest work was to build a tramway system in the city of Tampere, 170 kilometers north from Helsinki. I made a technical specification both for the infrastructure and the trams, and then I made through the purchase process. So the contracts were signed in the mid of October. So my approach to the Tallinn tunnel is a bit different than just having an idea of some technology. My approach is the approach of a traffic engineer, public transport engineer, and the idea which I present you is based much on the work which has been done during the finished project during the last couple of years, but because there are some challenges still, which is normal at this phase of the big project, we have been trying to find some solutions, and also we have tried to lowering the first step, so to make it easier to start the project, so which means that we try to minimize the project for the first step, but still leaving open everything for the extensions and so on. So this is the name for this idea is the minimum viable tunnel. So we try to find out what is the minimum to fulfill the requirements which were set for the tunnel. And the work is very much based on the pre-feasibility study made by Sweco, because that was our background information given to us before the deadline of the competition works. So we show the final solutions and final results of the video in the morning also only today. So that's not the background of our work. We tried to split the project functionally and economically to feasible pieces, and we are focusing the largest volume service for the tunnel to be able to make true in the beginning, and still leaving the maximum variety for the future expansions, as I explained you in the beginning. So the primary target for this tunnel, actually, when we look for the situation of the traffic systems, both in Helsinki and Tallinn side, and the current situation of what happens between these two cities, the main purpose for the Helsinki-Tallinn tunnel is the daily commuting, so that the people who live in either of these two cities may go to work to the other one, the same way as many people too around Helsinki area today, that they live somewhere far from 1 hour from Helsinki approximately. They wake up in the morning in their home, they travel 1 hour with the train to work, they have a working day, then they return back home every evening. Today this happens between Helsinki and Tallinn, so that the one who wakes up in the morning or perhaps in the evening is in Tallinn side, travels 3 hours to Helsinki area and then spends the whole week in Helsinki and returns back home only Friday evening or Saturday morning, depending on what kind of work he has. This will change, and this is the dramatic change, as this is also the background of the economy of building this tunnel. If this will not happen, the economy collapses. Of course, there are those other purposes for the tunnels also, but the thing is that this daily commuting is 3/4 of the use of the capacity and also of the incomes of the tunnel. The other transport and other ideas which are included in the studies made of the tunnel, they are all valid in our idea also. So we can build artificial islands, and the purpose for those is primarily solving the waste problem of the tunnel rock. We can also use the tunnel for other kind of transportation than just the daily commuting, because of its normal TSI compatible, which is technical specification for interoperability set by European Union for the railway systems in European Union. So the tunnel is compatible for all kind of transport. It does not require special rolling stock or any other special features. So it is just a simple logical part of the railway network of European Union here in the northern part of the EU. This is the basic idea we have. So what we think is worth for building first is just the connection between Helsinki and Tallinn, building into the city centers of the Helsinki and Tallinn, and then have a connection to the railway networks on both sides of the bay. Our clear idea is that when we build a connection between two railway systems which have the old Russian gauge, the tunnel must be built having that Russian gauge also. It does not mean that it might not include also the European gauge. So we have experience of that already in Finland. So Sweden has the normal gauge, and in the northern Finland between between Haaparanta and Tornio, there is a bridge and track line which connects the Swedish and Finnish railway networks together, and that's dual gauge for rails, and it's over 100 years old technology and solution already. So no question of is it possible or not. Then what is important is that if we can make the daily commuting true, the stations must be in the core, in the heart of the public transport systems, both in Helsinki and in Tallinn. In Helsinki, that means the main railway station, which is the center of the public transport system in Helsinki. It has metro, it has tramways, it has the railways, the current commuter train network node there. So the station there has to be in the middle of this point. It has to be not in the depth of 100 meters, because that makes 10 minutes more traveling time, just because upside traveling requires also time. So there is a solution, so we can build it higher, and the background to build it higher is that we can also build bridges under the ground. So we do not need to have 10 meters solid rock in between the two track levels if we build concrete bridges underground also. Actually, our metro network already have one place where such situation appears. And it seems to be so that the Tallinn end it's much harder and more challenging because of the where is the showing? No, this doesn't show. Anyway, because of the Bay Area sediment on the bottom of the sea is practically impossible for building a tunnel, and that's why the tunnel is planned to build to the Viimsi Peninsula. So we need to build approximately 10 kilometers more length to go to the Baltian, which is the heart of the public transport network in Tallinn. So there may be some ideas to build and then develop the Ülemiste area, but one simple comparison. If we are going to have trains every 10 minutes or every 6 minutes or every 5 minutes carrying 1,200 passengers, a tram line cannot bring those passengers from Ülemiste to city of Tallinn, because trams are a bit more smaller. So if we wish to have that daily commuting, then we need to have also the connection to the public transport network hard in Tallinn side, and also a connection from there to the Tallinn and Estonian track network. Where does then the passengers come from? So the current statistics say that there are some 20,000 Estonians which are commuting weekly from Tallinn to Helsinki area. But if we then think about what is the practical situation around Helsinki, so we end up to a bit different figures if it is possible to have the daily commuting, so go home for the evening to your family. The statistics are shown here, but based on those, the estimation for the number of passengers in the tunnel, let's say during the first years, is from 36,000 passengers, which commute, which means that they generate 72,000 trips for the day, because morning other direction and evening back. And because of the border between Finland and Estonia is an European Union internal border, we do not unfortunately have statistics of how many passengers and commuters there actually exist at the moment. So it may be that the figures may grow much more when the daily commuting really is possible. And based on these background figures, these are the loadings we have estimated for the tunnel in the first years. And there is the first column represents the number of train pairs in the tunnel for each kind of trains, and I will point out that the number of freight trains is quite low. But that estimate comes just from the statistics or estimates used for the Rail Baltica and how much of the cargo from the Rail Baltica may continue towards Helsinki. But I can tell you that it's not a problem. That is only our estimate for the number of trains in the beginning phase. And there is no limits for increasing the number of the other trains. Only thing which is critical is that the number for the passenger trains in the peak hours may become the challenge. So there may be a situation which is that the capacity of the commuting is not enough for the demand, and that is just simply based on the experience of commuting around Helsinki area, and with this tunnel, Tallinn will be something which is around Helsinki area. So why in long term the people wouldn't behave same way here in Tallinn as they behave around Greater Helsinki area? What comes to the economy then, what we have estimated is that the operating result of the tunnel company or whatever the organization is 210 million euros per year from the activities, commuter trains, road vehicle trains, and hiring the tunnel capacity for other operators than these trains which the company operates itself. So that is in a reasonable ratio compared to the amount and the size of the investment, basically. So that's why we feel that, okay, doing the first thing, having the tunnel built for the daily commuting, will guarantee the economy of the tunnel, and it doesn't close away any other ideas, any other expansions whatsoever they are. And this requires some technical logical challenges, but they are all possible. That requires, let's say, more clever engineering than just the simplest solution, but completely realistic. And plenty of ideas have been thought and pre-designed and so on, but for this work, everything can't be explained. There is not enough time for that. So now it's good time for this. Actually, I may say so that I do not need to show you this slide because of the day and the discussions held here from the morning gives us same things that we are going forward anyway. So that's our opinion doing this work in my company, and it seemed to be the opinion in the cities of Helsinki and Tallinn, and also in the state level in both Finland and Estonia. Thank you.